Looking for the perfect meat cleaver? In this video, we compare 4 of the top-rated cleavers on the market. Okay dear, let's start in this video top 4 best meat cleavers review.
Number 1.
Dalstrong Obliterator Meat Cleaver. Everything about this cleaver is a little over the top, from its obliterator name to the included wooden stand that lets you display it like a trophy. It's just ridiculously huge, the longest, tallest, thickest, and heaviest blade I tested. At over 48 ounces, it weighs a full pound more than any other knife on my list. But it's not just a gimmick. Dalstrong's cleaver is good at, well, cleaving. The weight of the blade by itself was almost enough to cut through a chicken leg bone, and it would have no trouble hacking apart oxtails or beef shank for pot au feu, or helping butcher a whole animal. The obliterator was also the fastest cleaver in my minced beef test, as the massive blade simply went through a lot of meat with each chop. This is definitely not a cleaver for vegetables, however. The thick blade is pretty dull and had a lot of trouble biting into butternut. I had to hammer on the spine with my palm to get it through the squash, which split and cracked more than sliced. The weight and size might also be a little impractical if all you ever plan to do with your cleaver is break down a chicken or separate a rack of ribs. Pros. This enormous blade can make short work of mincing meat or hacking through beef bones. Cons. It's very heavy, and the dull blade is not good for slicing.
Number 2.
Global Meat Cleaver. The blade on Global's cleaver is on the small side, but its total weight is pretty average. That makes for a well-balanced knife that feels maneuverable and hefty at the same time. The sharpness of the blade was very helpful in testing. I was able to slice the peel off the butternut with ease, and to cut through chicken accurately as I removed it from the bone. But it was still able to chop right through the bone in a single whack. It chopped up the beef evenly and thoroughly in 44 seconds, not the fastest in the group, but a great showing against much larger cleavers. The all-steel handle is the Global brand's signature style, with a series of small holes for grip. It's quite effective, especially with heavier knives, and I found the cleaver easy to hold firmly, even with wet hands. The texture looks like it might hold on to bits of food, but it's actually quite easy to rinse and wipe with a sponge, and the lack of a seam between blade and handle is another positive for cleaning. The only negative I see with the Global is its price. It's somewhat expensive for a cleaver, which might not be a knife you need to use terribly often in the first place. But it's small for a cleaver and might actually fit on a magnetic knife holder so you have it close at hand anytime you're working with meat or hard vegetables. Pros. A small, sharp, and heavy blade makes this cleaver more versatile than normal. Cons. It's expensive, especially for a specialized knife.
Number 3.
Victorinox Cleaver with Walnut Handle. If I asked you to picture a meat cleaver in your mind, you'd probably come up with something like Victorinox version. The wood handle and broad blade with a slightly curved spine are both classic design elements. It was the second cheapest model of the 11 I tried, yet it finished near the top of the list. This cleaver was weighty enough to cut all the way through a large butternut squash, and sharp enough to skin and chop the flesh accurately. The Victorinox has its flaws, however. It didn't go quite as cleanly through a chicken bone as similarly sized and weighted competitors, and a lot of the beef stuck to the sides of the blade while I chopped it. I'm also not a huge fan of unfinished wood handles like this one's. The shape was comfortable to hold, but the rough surface needs scrubbing to clean and can start to deteriorate after repeated cycles of wetting and drying. Pros. This inexpensive cleaver was able to take on everything we threw at it. Cons. The unfinished wooden handle is comfortable but might not hold up well over time.
Number 4.
Henckels Meat Cleaver. If your plan is mostly to make pieces of fried chicken out of whole birds, you don't need a huge, medieval torture device-looking cleaver. This Henckels model is a much more reasonable size and weight, and price, for smaller jobs. Its 6-inch blade is quite sharp and was able to slice the peel off the butternut as easily as it removed chicken meat from the bone. It's the lightest of the cleavers I tested, able to separate leg from thigh in a single well-placed chop but not able to get all the way through the bone. The small blade was a liability in my meat chopping test, the Henckels completed the job but took the second longest time doing so. My main problem with this cleaver, though, is the short handle, with a hooked shape at the butt end that takes up extra room. Your fingers end up squeezed in uncomfortably, with no rounded bolster to keep them from rubbing against the vertical blade. Pros: a sharp blade and reasonable weight make this the ideal cleaver for smaller hands and smaller jobs. Cons: the short handle and vertical bolster were uncomfortable to hold. If you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon and comment below. Check out the description to find the product links. Thanks for watching.